This is Trend Following Radio, where great thinking comes alive. Nobel Prize winners, legendary traders, best-selling authors, and the pros that know what drive us irrational human beings. I am your host, Michael Covel. Not filtered, raw, honest. That's my passion. I've got a book in front of me, Keep Going by Austin Kleon. I've got his other book too, Steal Like an Artist. I just love this kind of shit. I love stuff that motivates me to see simple, to see clearly, and to make good decisions. Austin is exceptional at this. I want to read a few chapters, a few segments, a few sections from his work that I really like. The first one, make lists. A list. L-I-S-T. He quotes one Mary Roach to start the chapter off. I make lists to keep my anxiety level down. If I write down 15 things to be done, I lose that vague, nagging sense that there are an overwhelming number of things to be done, all of which are on the brink of being forgotten. Wow, isn't that true, right? If you don't write stuff down, you cannot remember it. And if you don't believe that is true, well, you already forgot all the good stuff that you never wrote down. Yeah, that's how it works. To quote Austin from the chapter, lists bring order to the chaotic universe. I love making lists. Whenever I need to figure out my life, I make a list. A list gets all your ideas out of your head and clears the mental space so you're actually able to do something about them. When I'm overwhelmed, I fall back on the old-fashioned to-do list. Yes, I do this all the time myself. I make a big list of everything that needs to get done. I pick the most pressing thing to do, and I do it. Then I cross it off the list, pick another thing to do, and repeat. Some of my favorite artists make to-draw lists. David Shrigley will make a huge list of 50 things to draw a week in advance. Having the list means he doesn't have to waste studio time worrying about what to make. The thing that I've learned over the years is just to have a starting point. And once you have a starting point, the work seems to make itself. That's so damn true. I don't care what you're doing. You're writing a book. You're creating a trading system. You're going to make a movie. Whatever it is, write it down. I don't care how long the list is. I don't care how stupid each particular point on the list is. I mean, if you're writing it down, it's probably not stupid. But sometimes we think, well, we'll just remember it. We can't forget that. You can forget absolutely brilliant material, and you don't ever get it back. And then maybe you just rationalize it to yourself and say, oh, it didn't really matter. It wasn't that important. Actually, it could have changed your life, but you did not write it down. Continuing, Leonardo da Vinci made a to-learn list. He'd get up in the morning and write down everything he wanted to learn that day. When there's something I want to do in the future but don't have time for it right now, I add it to what productivity expert David Allen calls a someday maybe list. Man, I've got so many of these someday maybe lists. Unbelievable how many I have. Writer Steven Johnson does this in a single document he calls a spark file. Every time he has an idea, he adds to the file, and then he revisits the list every couple months. Sometimes it's important to make a list of what you won't do. The punk band Wire could never agree on what they all liked, but they could agree on what they didn't like. So in 1977, they sat down and made a list of rules. No solos, no decoration. When the words run out, it stops. We don't chorus out, no rocking out. Keep it to the point, no Americanisms. And that list defined their sound. I love that one. That is absolutely great. I think we all have our things that we don't want to do or that we should not do. But how many of us write it freaking down? I will not do this. Just a brilliant, simple piece of wisdom. Again, I don't care your endeavor. And think about it from the trend following perspective. Think about it from the trading perspective. I will not do this. I will not watch cable news shows or cable financial news shows. I will not. How much better did your life just get? Fantastically better. Continuing, when I need to make a decision, there's the pros and cons list. In 1772, Benjamin Franklin explained it to his pal, Joseph Priestley. Divide half a sheet of paper by a line into 2 columns, writing over the one pro and over the other con. When Charles Darwin was trying to figure out whether to get married, he made a pros and cons lists. How many of us have done that? Not too many of us. We usually just jump the freak in. Austin continues, when I'm stuck in the morning and I don't know what to write about in my diary, I'll modify the pros and cons list. I'll draw a line down the middle of the page, and in one column I'll list what I'm thankful for, and in the other column I'll write down what I need help with. It's a paper prayer. A list is a collection with purpose, writes designer Adam Savage. I like to look back at the end of each year and see where I've been, so I'll make a top 100 list of favorite trips, life events, books, records, movies, etc. I stole this practice from cartoonist John Porcellino, who publishes a top 40 style list in his zine King Cat. Bigger picture, when I think of a list, I would not be here talking right now if not for a list. And I wish somebody would have told me, that's the process. This is what you do. But I can still remember starting my business in the 1990s. It was just me and pieces of paper and writing stuff down and crossing a line through it. So many people think that's inefficient today with all these calendar management to-do list apps on your phone. Do you know how many of those that I've bought over the years? An absolute ton. Do you know how many of those are better than a sheet of paper and a pen? None. 0. Not one. Absolutely not one, because there is something to the tactile sensation. Actually writing down what you are thinking onto a piece of paper with your hand does something different than storing it in essentially a glorified calculator, never to be seen again. Because that's what happens when we make the damn digital list. We forget about it. It doesn't interact with us the same way. Write it down. Michael, this is what you're saying to yourself right now, right? Michael, you're crazy. Why all this effort on a list? Yeah, I get it. Some people will think, what a waste of time. I don't need to do that. Yeah, guess what? I bet you're not that damn successful. Yeah, check that mirror out. Getting into another chapter from Austin and his book, Keep Going, 10 Ways to Stay Creative in Good Times and Bad, the author Austin Kleon. He starts this chapter off, a chapter titled Learn How to Say No. He starts it off with a quote from E.B. White. I do not know who E.B. is. Maybe I just forgot, but I like the quote. I must decline for secret reasons. I'm going to start using that one. That one is fucking brilliant. I must decline for secret reasons. Mr. Covel, can you help us out here? I must decline for secret reasons. Mike, I would like your insight on this. Would you like to come speak for us at this event in Singapore or Indonesia or California? I must decline for secret reasons. In fact, maybe I could embellish that. I must decline. I am an alien. That would be a great response. We have to learn to manage our time, and just saying no is absolutely foundational. As Austin says, in order to protect your sacred space and time, you have to learn how to decline all sorts of invitations from the world. You must learn how to say no. Writer Oliver Sacks went so far as to tack up a huge no sign in his house next to the phone to remind him to preserve his writing time. One architect spent mornings in his apartment painting and afternoons in his office practicing architecture. Painting every morning is what allows me to be lucid every afternoon, he said. He did everything he could to keep his two identities separate, even signing his paintings with his birth name. A journalist once knocked on his apartment door during his painting hours and asked to speak to him. The gentleman looked him right in the eye and said, "I'm sorry, he's not in." I love that one too. I have to start using these. So fantastic. "I'd like to speak to Michael, please." "Oh, I'm sorry, he's not in." "Do you know when he will be back?" "No, I'm sorry, he has stepped out for the next 10 years. You can call back in 10 years. I love that one too. Back to Austin. Saying no is its own art form. Artist Jasper Johns answered invitations with a big custom-made regret stamp. Writer Robert Heinlein, critic Edmund Wilson, and the editors at Raw Magazine all used form responses with checkboxes. These days, most of us receive invitations in the form of an email, so it helps if you can have a no thanks template handy. In her piece, How to Graciously Say No to Anyone, Alexandra Franzen suggests the following: thank the sender for thinking of you, decline, and, if you can, offer another form of support. But this is tough because we don't want to miss out. And Austin says this. Social media has created this human phenomena called FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's the sense, scrolling through your feeds, that everybody out there is having a much better time than you are. The only anecdote is JOMO, the joy of missing out. As writer Anil Dash explains, there can be and should be a blissful, serene enjoyment in knowing and celebrating that there are folks out there having the time of their life at something that you might have loved to do, but are simply skipping. Saying no to the world can be really hard, but sometimes it's the only way to say yes to your art and your sanity. To take that no a further step and to keep it in my trend-following world for a moment, saying no is part of a trading system because you're only acting when you are supposed to act. The trading system is saying no all the time, all day long, until it says yes. Then you act. No, 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 yes. It's automating the exact process that Austin is talking about. That you want to say yes only on your terms. Or, in the context of a trading system, you're saying yes when you are supposed to say yes, and you're saying no when you are supposed to say no. It's not an emotional thing all day long where you're like, oh my God, what do I do? Yes or no? What do I do? No. Just pick what the hell your process is going to be and stick with it. That's the game. That's the best game you can play. I love this next one from Austin. Chapter title, Slow Down and Draw Things Out. For all of you nut jobs out there that think you're going to be the next high-frequency trader or day trader, or that you must constrict your time frame of however you operate your life, 600 tweets a day, trying to respond to everybody, making sure that you know the breaking headline for every moment of the day without bothering to think that that breaking headline is just a bunch of MBAs who have figured out your psychology sitting in an office somewhere, programming you, like the sucker that you are, to think that the breaking headline is freaking important when it's not important. It's just part of a gimmick to get you to watch so they can sell you ads. Oh, damn, I hate breaking the bad news. Slow down and draw things out. As Austin says, it's impossible to pay proper attention to your life if you are hurtling along at lightning speed. When your job is to see things other people don't, you have to slow down enough that you can actually look. And I would add, actually think. In an age obsessed with speed, slowing down requires special training. After art critic Peter Clothier discovered meditation, he realized how little he was actually looking at art. I would often catch myself spending more time with the wall label in a museum than with the painting I was supposed to be looking at. Inspired by the slow food and slow cooking movements, he started leading 1 hour, one painting sessions in galleries and museums. in which he invited participants to gaze at a single artwork for 1 full hour. Slow looking caught on, and now several museums across the country hold slow looking events. The ethos is summed up on the Slow Art Day website. When people look slowly, they make discoveries. When you extend your time frame, you make discoveries. When you're not competing with everyone else who's not really thinking or looking, you make discoveries. All kinds of good stuff happens when you stop paying attention to what you think you should pay attention to, blur those eyes, and just stare at the art. Just take a good look, and you're going to see something different. I, for one, like to do this when I travel. I like to observe every damn thing I can. The observation of new, the exploration of new, that's what jacks me up. That's what gets the mind going, the neurons firing, the brain loaded with fresh material. Then the next thing you know, you're making more, you're creating more, you're earning more. I'm sure some people actually listen to this podcast and perhaps turn off because they don't hear enough of me telling them that if you enter here and exit here, you will be a billionaire in 3 years. Of course, those very people are broke, will stay broke, and will never have more than a few bucks in their wallet as they shift around on social media looking for the next huckster to tell them what they want to hear. Because they can't slow down. They think it's a race. The faster they go, the faster they will get the prize. No. That is not how it works. And the most successful people on this planet, the most successful people who've come along on this planet, know damn straight that's not how it works. Continuing from Austin, to slow down and pay attention to your world, pick up a pencil and a piece of paper and start drawing what you see. The pencil's best feature is that it has no way of interrupting you with text or notifications. You might find that this helps you to discover the beauty you've missed. Now again, the beauty that you've missed could be a simple trading system. I mean, can you actually take a piece of paper, if you're a trader, if you're an investor, can you actually take a piece of paper and draw the process for how you make money? What does it look like? Do you end up with lines everywhere and scribbles and nobody can make sense of it? Or is it something simple because you slowed down and you actually thought about where does your money come from? See, the quick thinkers, all they really can think about is arbitrage. They just want to figure out a way to be ahead of the next guy, to get a little bit more than the next guy. And it's a race to the bottom at the speed of light. I can't do that shit, man. I go crazy. I have no interest. Now, do I know, for example, some very successful short-term traders? I do. But they've got decades head starts on me, man. Decades. They've got an infrastructure, a technology infrastructure that's off the hook. You don't have that. I don't have that. Slow down. And when it comes to the investment process, whether it's Trend Following's way or Warren Buffett's way, they're both slow. I love this last chapter excerpt that I want to read from Austin. Pay attention to what you pay attention to. And he has a quote in the opening part of the chapter. For anyone trying to discern what to do with their life, pay attention to what you pay attention to. That's pretty much all the info you need. Pay attention to what you pay attention to. What do you pay attention to? Do you even know what you pay attention to? This can be really tough, to pay attention to what you pay attention to. Let me continue with Austin. Your attention is one of the most valuable things you possess, which is why everyone wants to steal it from you. First, you must protect it, and then you must point it in the right direction. As they say in the movies, careful where you point that thing. What you choose to pay attention to is the stuff your life and work will be made of. My experience is what I agree to attend to, psychologist William James wrote in 1890. Only those items which I notice shape my mind. We pay attention to the things we really care about, but sometimes what we really care about is hidden from us. I keep a daily diary for many reasons, but the main one is that it helps me to pay attention to my life. By sitting down every morning and writing about my life, I pay attention to it. And over time, I have a record of what I've paid attention to. Many diarists don't bother rereading their diaries, but I've found that rereading doubles the power of a diary because then I'm able to discover my own patterns, identify what I really care about, and know myself better. Austin goes on to say, scroll through your camera roll, rewatch footage you filmed, listen to music you've recorded. The musician Arthur Russell used to take long walks around Manhattan listening to his own tapes on his Walkman. When you have a system for going back through your work, you can better see the bigger picture of what you've been up to and what you should do next. If you want to change your life, change what you pay attention to. We give things meaning by paying attention to them, Jessica Crispin writes. And so moving your attention from one thing to another can absolutely change your future. Attention is the most basic form of love, wrote John Tarrant. When you pay attention to your life, it not only provides you with the material for your art, it also helps you, drum roll please, fall in love with your life. And falling in love with your life, hell, that's what motivates me to do this podcast. I don't say that in a cocky way or an arrogant way or an egotistical way. But this podcast is fun. It's my form of a diary, actually. So I don't write down everything, as Austin might say. I guess I use Facebook somewhat as a diary. But my podcast is my diary. I can go back and I can listen to how I sounded 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Oh my God, it's too much content. If you start listening to this podcast 24/7, it's going to take you 2 to 3 weeks or something like that to listen to. That's pretty nuts. But I love it. I can't wait to get to 1,000 episodes. 1,000 episodes just sounds like a nice round number. And maybe something really crazy in society will have happened by 1,000 episodes. Maybe the podcast will be dead. Maybe we will all live in one big surveillance state with an electrode implanted in us, and we no longer have to use these devices to communicate or talk. It will all just be instant and some crazy dystopian, forward-thinking, forward future nightmare. Gosh, I hope it's not a nightmare. I have too much fun living. And I have too much fun picking up books like this. Again, today, quoting from Austin Kleon's book, Keep Going, 10 Ways to Stay Creative in Good Times and Bad. So try and forget my dystopian nightmare tangent. I'm somewhat joking. I really don't think we're going to go that direction. The way I see it, there's too many people that want to work hard to get ahead, to have better experiences. And all we're trying to do is to share with each other, to find a way to get ahead. That's the damn fun of life. I see a time when those awake will understand how to make money in up, down, and surprise markets. Whether new trader or experienced, college student or financial advisor, protecting against a crash or just trying to make a lot of money, trend following offers everyone an answer in uncertain times. To get started immediately, send me an email, michael@covel.com. I will send you the right trend following steps to take along with my free video. But if you want to buy and hold, trust the government and trust Wall Street, this is absolutely not for you.